Remember when social media was all about connecting with distant family and friends, or even poking fun at your closest ones? Well, social media is a real treat these days. Platforms like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, just full of positivity and uplifting content, isn't it? Platforms becoming political, that certainly isn't something that has happened all of a sudden, but it seems to have more of an edge over the last couple of years. That knife can cut a little deeper these days. A lot of that has been directed toward those we elected to lead us. So how much of that vitriol is too much? Or what if it's just too personal? Can an elected official just block someone? Some argue it's a violation of the First Amendment, preventing someone from posting on the public portion of an elected official's social media site. Well, here in Idaho, there's a pending legal action surrounding an Idaho lawmaker who has blocked Idahoans from his page. Representative Chad Christensen posted to his campaign Facebook page about it this past week, and he makes the argument that he's allowed to block Idahoans from his page for a few different reasons, which got us thinking. What are these rules on this topic? Surely the founding fathers never imagined this. Joe Paris spoke with the ACLU of Idaho and a legal group that has studied this issue closely in recent months.
As technology evolves, so does the law. And in recent years, a question here in Idaho, can elected officials block you from social media pages, or is that a violation of free speech laws?
We've gotten dozens of complaints really from community members over the last few years, I'd say. They really picked up, I think in 2020. It was a very kind of dynamic legislative session, let's say, then and in 2021 as well. And it led to a lot of folks being blocked.
Adika Singh is the legal director for ACLU Idaho. The team there researched the blocking question and its interaction with things like the First Amendment as they continue to get inquiries about it from Idahoans.
We found that folks might have had real legitimate claims under the First Amendment, but we were really hammered with dozens, maybe close to a couple hundred complaints over the last couple of years. And really our belief is that it shouldn't take a lawsuit for public officials to follow the law.
So how do you know if you're in a situation where you've been blocked on social media by an elected official and you're wondering, are they allowed to? Well, the ACLU has actually put together a toolkit that includes this flow chart. You can see there's some yes and no questions that the flow chart asks, and it really is trying to get to the bottom of should an elected official be allowed in that situation to have blocked you. And some of these yes or no questions, they get to the intricacy of, is this page a government page or a personal page that happens to just be owned by someone who is an elected official?
First question, look on the page, Facebook page, the Twitter presence, the web page, and see if it says the title of the government official. See if there's information that is related to government contact information, an official government email address, phone number. Ask yourself whether this person is using this page to promote policy, to discuss issues.
This past week, Idaho House Representative Chad Christensen posted on Facebook about his current battle over blocking Idahoans from his Facebook page. Christensen argues in a post that, quote, they think it is their First Amendment right because I'm a politician. Also, this is mainly a campaign page, not an official government page. There has been precedent set on that. It is interesting to note, Christensen did change the name of this same Facebook page back in May. Transparency data from Facebook reflects that the page was named Representative Chad Christensen until May 8th, when it changed to Re-elect Representative Chad Christensen. Important to note, the change did take place shortly before the May primary election. In general, Singh says, look at the historical use of a page in question if there is a simple name change.
I think you have to look at the history of the public officials' use of this particular forum. And if it started out as a forum that was not a campaign forum, that likely remains an official forum, an official public forum in which that interaction with the public cannot be blocked. So again, just what was the history of this person's interaction with that page would be the critical question that courts would seek to answer.
The situation does go both ways. If a citizen is acting totally inappropriate on a government page or breaking page rules, that can open the door for justified and allowed blocking.
You want to make sure that you were within that policy. You want to make sure that you weren't using profanity or seeking to use profanity, that you weren't threatening this person or personally attacking that person or trying to sell something. You also want to just take note as to whether you were warned. Maybe this public official felt threatened, physically threatened by your comment.
So what do you do if you really feel wrong? Well, the ACLU says the first thing you should do is reach out to the elected official and ask to simply be unblocked. It's really the best way to deal with it. If no luck, though, and it really gets to the point where you'd want to do this, Brian, you could actually file a lawsuit over this entire thing, and a court would be asked to rule on this. And the ACLU telling me today that, you can win damages up to a pretty high amount on a situation like this. Long story short, the idea is to simply get the public official to unblock you. But if for some reason they're not willing to do that, there is legitimate legal course. And the ACLU has actually put together that toolkit we mentioned. The flowchart is a part of it. They've also essentially written a letter, almost like a professional Mad Lib, where you could, fill in your situation. You could say, "Dear Mr. So-and-so" or "Dear Mrs. So-and-so," and it spells out for the elected official really what the laws are in Idaho. So when you're reaching out to them, they're understanding what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I mean, it goes without saying, social media has become a hot mess lately. And I would like to ask, I know you reached out to Representative Christensen to talk to him about this. I would like to ask him those questions, like what made you want to block some people? Because sometimes it feels like social media, you get out of it what you kind of put into it.
Yeah, and again, we reached out to him. We wanted to ask him, what were your thoughts? Why did you block this? He could be in the right, he could be in the wrong. If you're watching, Representative, we'd love to chat with you about this.
All right, thank you very much, Joe.